You have two chances to join Michael Voris in Canada. The first in Ottawa on May 24th, and the second on May 26th in Toronto, where he'll be speaking about the new evangelization and living your faith with charity and boldness. For all the details, just click on either of the links in the description.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Well, we need to issue a correction/follow-up to some information we told you about in one of last week's Vortex episodes, a significant follow-up. We highlighted a situation at Prince of Peace Catholic High School in Clinton, Iowa, in the Diocese of Davenport, Iowa, and gave a big hand to the bishop there, 71-year-old Martin Amos. Now, here's a little quick background summary. A homosexual activist group had announced it was awarding a $40,000 scholarship to one of Prince of Peace's graduating seniors because he was openly gay and had the courage to come out to his peers and teachers, blah, blah. They are certainly, that group, within their rights to give money to whomever they want. But it wasn't just a case of giving money. Included with the award, the scholarship, was an agreement between the school and the organization that, get this, a representative from the group, from the homosexual activist group, would, 1, appear at the graduation, be physically there, available, and people would see him and recognize him for who he was. 2, make a public announcement to the graduates, stride up to the podium and read a pre-designed, pre-written speech extolling all of these virtues and telling the guests about the nature of the scholarship. And 3, then hand a statue, a little statuette trophy, to the young man to accompany the money, the announcement of the award. When the bishop learned of this, he correctly had his chancery announce a stop to the proceedings. Not the scholarship money, mind you, that was none of his business, just the presentation at the Catholic high school graduation ceremonies, which, as chief shepherd of his flock in his diocese, is very much his business. When news broke of his decision, all the expected boo-birds came out decrying his homophobia and the excessive rigidity and discrimination against poor victim gays, and on and on and on. You've heard it a million times. Then, the Catholic world, following this story, sat back in disbelief as this weekend news broke that the bishop had been in quiet sideline negotiations with the gay group, despite his announcement that the presentation would not proceed. The group, the Eichner Foundation, expressed subdued outrage that the boy was being victimized by the mean old homophobic church. So the bishop struck a bargain with them, which was announced in a statement this weekend. We've attached a link to an article in the Des Moines Register about it, which also contains a link straight through to the actual document from the diocese. In short, remember the 3 points. An Eichner Foundation rep would be at the commencement and everybody would know who he was. 2, he would make a speech that he wrote extolling the glories of being out loud and proud about being a homosexual student at the school. And 3, he would hand a trophy statue to the student. Those were the 3 things. Well, here is the common ground compromise. An Eichner representative will be at the commencement, just as before. His speech will be read, just not by him, but by, get this, an official from the diocese. And then number 3, the Eichner rep will hand the student the statue. If there was any possible way to strike a compromise which could possibly be worse for the church, this would be it. Chancery officials must have labored well into the early morning hours to figure out how to make the church look the most imbecilic as possible. Picture this, a speech, the words of an actively supportive homosexual rights group praising and celebrating teenage sodomy are not going to be coming out of the mouth of the actual group. That would be scandalous enough. But now they're going to be pouring out of the mouth of an official of the church in front of God and everyone. How exactly is this a compromise? The Eichner group expressed deep satisfaction at the agreement, and we bet they did. There are so many things wrong and scandalous here, it's hard to know where to begin. First, the school staff, the Catholic school staff, administration, and faculty. This group supported this young fellow in his disordered sexuality. They wrote letters for him to get the scholarship, and they were jubilant, get this, that he brought his boyfriend to the prom. Way to care for his soul, teachers. Fantastic models of the faith you are. Maybe you think the Chancery should give you all a raise, but in fact, you should be fired for gross negligence for failing this young man. You are supporting a moral evil. You are corrupting the minds of young men and women in your charge and contributing to the continued diminution of the faith. The Chancery officials who are complicit in this should immediately lose their posts. They have bowed to the pressures of the world and not defended Jesus Christ and His Holy Catholic Church and her infallible teachings. By allowing this presentation to occur, Chancery and school officials will be sending the very clear message that an accommodation can be made for the grave sin of homosexual acts. Whether they intend to or not, that is exactly what everyone in that audience will take away from it. And given the celebrity status that has popped up around this case, who can't imagine that there won't in fact be a loud, sustained, and raucous celebration of this award presentation on the part of the other students who will view it as the triumph of good over the wicked forces of homophobia and discrimination? The question of supporting students who have particular struggles, be they spiritual, physical, or emotional, is of course the purview of Catholic school educators. In fact, it is uniquely theirs. But to celebrate a condition the Church calls objectively disordered in an official setting, such as a graduation in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, many of them very young and impressionable, and have the local press carry the message beyond the doors and confines of the actual commencement is beyond scandalous. And the fact that the scandal has been compounded by first standing up for the truth and then doing a 180-degree about-face is even more shocking. But to further add disgrace by actually agreeing to have a church official stand up and do the reading of the nicely packaged propaganda from an open homosexual group which totally disagrees with church teaching is simply beyond the pale. Let's look at this in reverse, shall we? Let's assume, for some odd reason, that the Eichner group had a worker in their plant that disagreed with their active homosexualism. And let's further assume that the Diocese of Davenport had the opportunity to go to Eichner Company headquarters and make a public presentation before hundreds of people praising the employee for his bravery in overcoming the discrimination and Catholophobia he had faced for upholding church teaching. Do you think for one instant that the Eichner group would permit that to happen? Not in 1,000 eternities. Church leaders in the U.S. can give all the bravado-sounding speeches in front of friendly Catholic audiences they want to. They can write loads of articles and grant interviews and appear on TV and radio in settings that are little else than official mouthpieces for themselves, and talk about the need to recapture Catholic identity and wanting to be the friendly church and eschewing that bad public relations image of the Church of No. But it won't mean a thing. And it won't mean a thing because at the root, at the bottom line, the absolute final measuring stick of Catholic identity is this: the work to save souls, period. Souls cannot be saved when the truth is being ignored. Any loss of souls that might be contributed to by this scandal will be partially on the leaders who facilitated this sad event at the high school. No wonder faithful Catholics are abandoning the so-called Catholic school system. More need to leave, and as quickly as possible. I wonder, as the gay group representative hands the award to the gay student, after the diocesan official has, of course, finished his propaganda speech that they wrote for him, and amid all the loud cheers and high-fiving, I wonder, who will be concerning themselves with this young man's soul? God love you. I'm Michael Voris.
If you think the Vortex helps you get things in focus, try becoming a premium member on RealCatholicTV.com for the best shows on earth. The benefits are out of this world.